Hello everyone, and now welcome to a game. This game is going to be, well, an all-the-random game between MisterWinner and a Sheik taking place here on Fading Autumn. MisterWinner spawning as the blue knight off on the top right-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Sheik spawning as the yellow undead on the bottom left. Should be a great matchup here as we see Crypt, Altar of Darkness, random heroes now getting trained up. And, well, as always, jumping to that 2-minute mark because, well, it's difficult to know what type of strategies players are going to be going for until this first hero pops on out. Alright, quick, well, stun right there, trying to take down this forest troll trapper and maybe that renegade wizard as well. That Ancient of War doing quite a bit of a trek to get to that distance. No Tome of Intelligence, should be turning around and pick that up. Meanwhile, down on the southern side, we see the Priestess of the Moon going alongside and fighting with, well, all of these ghouls. So, Searing Arrows, the first item picked up by the Priestess of the Moon. Skeletal minions units are going to make their way out, and, well, obviously that True Shot aura not going to be nearly as powerful until, say, Crypt Fiends are finally out here on the battlefield. Alright. Tauren Chieftain now making his way back off to the north here. Does have Claws of Attack +5, but he's going to get surrounded. Stomp, yes he does. And then, well, that little stomp right there mitigates quite a bit of damage as those units, well, are stunned right there. And while they are stunned, they are not fighting back. So ways to try and keep damage off of that Tauren Chieftain. Back on the southern side, Priestess of the Moon does get to level 2, does set up a Ziggurat here, and we're looking to see if Sheik sets up an expansion. Expansion always important to try and, well, get that economic advantage early on in all the random, as we know how much players like to, well, build up a shop and be able to, well, hire up things from these, or hire up units from those mercenaries. We've seen great mercenary added in to the battle. In comes a Wisp. I believe that Wisp should have no problem trying to, well, detonate onto some of these skeletal minions here. Meanwhile, Priestess of the Moon sitting at level 2. There's that Blight. We should be looking at a possible upgrade. Meanwhile, Tauren Chieftain trying to clear out of this Ice Troll Berserker and picks up Slippers of Agility. So an army of archers with a Tauren Chieftain going up against, well, the Priestess of the Moon. Excuse me, Priestess of the Moon, and, well, no more mana there. Does have the Potion of Greater Mana. We'll see how that is used. We'll get to level 3. Is he going to try to go for level 2 True Shot Aura or level 2 Searing Arrows? That is the question. Level 2 Searing Arrows, significantly more damage right there. You can see that little bit of burst damage, but, well, the Priestess of the Moon may not have much mana after all of this. Takes that down, gets a Mana Stone as well, so 2 consumable mana items there for the least mana intensive hero in the game. So Priestess of the Moon, well, Potion of Greater Mana, Mana Stone. All it needs now is a Sobi Mask to, and a Kagar's Pipe of Insight to, well, round out the quad effecta. Now, Tauren Chieftain sitting at level 3 here, does have healing wards. We're going to be looking at quite a little bit of damage here. Ghouls trying to make their way over. Tauren Chieftain doesn't have enough mana for a Stomp. One level 2 Stomp coupled with a bunch of archers and Focus Fire. That could have been enough to take it down, as we are already at Tree of Ages, but not teching further, or not training up a second hero. Alright. Searing Arrows going straight after that Ice Troll Priest there. That little bit of damage. Tauren Chieftain trying to make its way over. Is he going to try to throw down a Stomp? He does. There's that Tome of Strength +2. Who's going to pick up the item? Archer may be forced to try and Shadow Meld. Oh, a web there, a sleep there. And we're looking at, well, a Stomp going down as well. So Archer versus units. There's a Staff of Preservation for a save there. This Archer is going to Shadow Meld in time. There's a Healing Ward. That's quickly going to get picked, but that does buy time as another Healing Ward goes down. Archer, or Priestess of the Moon, is going to try to finish it off. Yes, it does go after the Dark Troll Priest. Damage is going down. There's another sleep again. Archers and Skeletal Minions still popping up. There's another Shadow Meld right there. 5 hit points onto that unit, as we're looking at the units still trying to make their way back around. All right, little bit of damage. Are we going to see a Shadow Meld onto that Archer? No, we are not. Looks like it will be able to retreat back away. There goes another Skeletal Minion. Tome of Strength +2 damage for that Tauren Chieftain, and +50 hit points. He should eventually be hiring up some mercenaries, so that should not be a problem. What is this? Is Mr. Winner going to actually try to go for Hippogriff Riders? That is going to be an interesting call here, especially as Sheik needs to get Crypt Fiends with Web and do it quickly. There's that Tome of Strength +2, Clarity Potion, trying to get as much mana as possible. Archer's 16 to 18 damage has not gotten the improved bows yet, or have they? No, yes, they do have better range, but not that increased damage, as we're going to look at the trackers perhaps get taken down here. All right, there's one Hippogriff Rider already up in the air. There's a Stomp, little bit of damage. Archer taking a lot of that damage. Now is he going to try to well, Staff of Preservation, as we see a web go onto that Hippogriff Rider. So Hippogriff Rider taking a little bit of damage, getting back up into the air. Tauren Chieftain now with Boots of Quelt the Loss and Claws of Attack +5, looking to clear things up again as the Priestess of the Moon comes out on the battlefield for Mr. Winner. And Mr. Winner actually went for Searing Arrows first. So no True Shot Aura, Searing Arrows. I would have thought True Shot Aura would have been the much stronger play, as the Priestess of the Moon now gets +14 damage between those items. That is a lot of agility item right there, as we're looking at a Staff of Preservation still here. All right, going to try and pick up some more units. So it's Potom versus Potom in a Orc versus Night Elf match here, as we see a Stomp go down. There goes that Forest Troll Dark Priest. Tauren Chieftain is going to be able to save that Hippogriff Rider. 33 hit points, 29. No gets taken down, gives level 4 to Sheik's Priestess of the Moon. Level 2 now on the other Priestess of the Moon. So both sides are battling at each other. Hippogriff Rider goes into the air, but well, unable to come out ahead. We're looking at just so much damage going down. The Dark Slayer, that gets taken down as well. There's a Sleep as well, as we're looking at the Priestess of the Moon trying to get away. Tauren Chieftain doesn't have enough mana. There's a Stomp. The Dark Troll High Priest able to get away. That's going to be a lot of damage onto those skeletal minions, as the Priestess of the Moon stays at level 2. Now, what's going to be unfolding here? We are at Tier 2, going into Tier 3. Mr. Winner, well, playing this game not like your traditional all the random, playing it much more like, playing it much more one base. We are looking to see Halls of the Dead. We are getting up a Slaughterhouse. Obsidian statues should be coming online, in addition to getting up a second hero. Tauren Chieftain trying to go after that Null Overseer. Pyrrhic of Vitality dropped for that frontline tanky hero. Priestess of the Moon gonna finish the job, or finish off that Null Warden here, as the Priestess of the Moon just shy of level 3. Now, not very many creep camps left here on the bottom right any longer. We're looking at perhaps the Spirit Tower, Nerubian Tower. Units going to getting into position. Here we are, here we go. And well, there is some early damage already. A little bit of bonus damage. Tauren Chieftain trying to catch up to those targets. Better attack speed, better movement speed. Staff of Preservation for the save there, as well, more damage going down onto all of those targets. Priestess of the Moon has to be careful though. Doesn't have that much in terms of hit points, and in that frontline spot. Meanwhile, there's level 3, that Hippogriff Rider down to 12, already taken down, so that's going to be a little bit damaging. Meanwhile, Paladin, oh my goodness, Paladin, not the hero of choice, not only going to be able to heal that Priestess of the Moon, and that is it. Hippogriff Rider gets sniped down. There's some more sleeping still coming across, as new Hippogriff Riders will join in on the battlefield. Staff of Preservation for the save again. Paladin has Holy Light, probably may wish that he had Divine Shield right now, as the Priestess of the Moon could be in a little bit of trouble. More damage coming back across. Still, Priestess of the Moon, Searing Arrow damage getting, well, added up over and over, as the Mr. Winner does have level 2 True Shot Aura, giving +4 damage, so everything essentially has 2-0 upgrades, getting that 20% range damage bonus. All right, low hit point Archer trying to get away. Crypt Fiend of Sheik, and that giant spider. Perhaps they're going to be able to web down a target or two. No, falling back tactically. Sheik still has the supply advantage, 51 supply compared to 39. No surprise, since we have that economic advantage. The question is now going to come to, what is the Priestess of the Moon and the Tauren Chiefs going to, how are they going to close out this game? The longer the game goes, the better that economic, or the more that economic advantage is going to play into the fight here. But Paladin, purposely getting into some pathing issues, gets up to level 2, and, well, does get Divine Shield as that follow-up ability to try and stick around and stay alive. All right, there's a Holy Light onto that Priestess of the Moon. It's going to be much more difficult to take down with those 200 burst heals. And, well, I guess the Paladin and the Priestess of the Moon leading the undead, well, leads to problems, but still may find a way to victory. Tauren Chieftain purposely hanging back. Priestess of the Moon, the one to get all of that experience right there. We're looking at an Ice Troll Priest. It looks like it's going to get taken out. Priestess of the Moon, well, picks up a Potion of Greater Healing. Skeletal Minion taken down. And are we looking at some... Nope. Looking at a Tauren Chieftain, wondering if we're going to see healing salves. Of course not. He is Night Elf, and, well, needs to heal that way. You're right. No Ancient of Lore, so single Ancient of Wind, single of Ancient of War to produce these Hippogriff Riders. And we're looking at the Tauren Chieftain here picking up perhaps a Scroll of Healing. Yes, quickly uses it, and perhaps going to try and engage here. And meanwhile, all of these Crypt Fiends, how are they going to fight? All right, there's a quick deny there. There's going to be a lot of web. Tauren Chieftain perhaps going to throw down. Yes, does get in a Stomp. We're going to see a Scroll of Healing used right there. Are they going to pop back up? There goes another level 4 now on that Priestess of the Moon. So another Stomp goes down. So much damage. That stun is, well, stomping down on all of these bugs. There's a quick reveal right there. Are we going to see another? There's, well, another Crypt Fiend gets taken down. So the Tauren Chieftain putting his foot down, stomping down a bug after bug after bug, and all of these Crypt Fiends just, well, getting cleaned up. However, a lot of the Hippogriff Riders also getting cleaned up here as the Tauren Chieftain, well, does not get that last Crypt Fiend there. All right, a little bit more damage. You're going to see the Crypt Fiends trying to, well, dodge every which way. They're going to jump back up into the air, at least dodge that Paladin. And other Crypt Fiends, as well as the Tauren Chieftain tries to finish off those Crypt Fiends before the Hippogriff Riders get webbed down more. Sheik gets up to level 5 on Priestess of the Moon first. Paladin just close, well, now gets to level 3, so the Priestess of the Moon and the Paladin working together may be able to deal quite a bit of damage, as the Obsidian Statue has some concerns here. The Obsidian Statue could easily get taken down. We'll just focus fire down the targets that cannot get healed by that Paladin. Paladin also with that Divine Shield. There's another Stomp going down as another Crypt Fiend about to fall again. All right, so much healing. Priestess of the Moon down to 232 hit points. It's going to continue to try and fight away. There's that Priestess of the Moon. There's a Potion of Greater Healing followed by a Holy Light. And heroes are just still battling it up here, trying to finish off each other. Paladin down to 391 hit points. Obsidian Statue quickly taken down. Mana could now potentially be an issue as the Paladin tries to get away. Priestess of the Moon, that gets another Holy Light. Gonna turn back around. That Crypt Fiend does end up falling. As it popped back up, only to realize, wait, I don't want to be in this battle at all. We're going to see another Crypt Fiend get taken down. Tauren Chieftain really, well, able to finish off many of those units again. There's another Staff of Preservation for another save. Burrowed Crypt Fiend able to regenerate some hit points. There's some Holy Light once more. And that Paladin still has enough mana to Holy Light that Priestess of the Moon. So, well, Divine Shield coupled with 400 hit point healing burst on a 9 armor Priestess of the Moon makes that very difficult to finish off. There goes another web down. There's a, well, stick your head in the sand moment as the archer gets taken down again. There's a Stomp. We're going to be looking at another Crypt Fiend try to hide. No, the Stomp just simply lasts too long. Another Divine Shield. Priestess of the Moon. And with so much healing, this Priestess of the Moon and Paladin combination, they're just not falling at all. All right, no reveals. Tauren Chieftain, Crypt Fiends, both sides continuing to fight. We're looking at the Paladin. Perhaps he needs to get some sort of, well, Orb of Darkness to be able to attack the air. The Paladin now trying to get away down to 103 hit points. Tauren Chieftain trying to catch up is going to be able to do exactly that, as we're looking at another Crypt Fiend, well, death there. All right, so Crypt Fiend death. Tauren Chieftain trying to catch up to that Paladin. Paladin, well, trying to get away. Tauren Chieftain's movement speed not quite enough to catch up to that Paladin easily, as we're looking at, well, playing a game of whack-a-mole here. So take damage, burrow yourself, well, come back up here. Archer, level 5 now on MisterWinner's Priestess of the Moon. So MisterWinner's Priestess of the Moon also racking up a little bit more damage. There goes another Crypt Fiend back up top here. Tauren Chieftain tries to dive in a little bit too far, goes after the Paladin and says, you know what, maybe I should have been back at home all this time instead. All right, Priestess of the Moon could be in a little bit of trouble. Are we going to see unburrowing all of these Crypt Fiends in time? So, Priestess of the Moon unable to save that Crypt Fiend there. There's a Stomp. I believe this Crypt Fiend, well, it may be able to get away. How long is that? A stun there. One more shot, maybe. No, 2 more shots going to be needed. No, it actually gets taken down. Archer coupled with that Tauren Chieftain. Long, drawn-out battle. Very tough. Very tough battle there. Both sides just pummeling each other left and right. Sheik now with the supply advantage, and has had the supply advantage for quite some time. Well, has mined about 6,500 more gold than his opponent. Meanwhile, coming back down to the south side here, Hippogriff, Tauren Chieftain, archers, well, ready to battle it up here. Getting ready to go. As well, one obsidian statue could have a very bad day. There's a Stomp. There's going to be a couple low hit point units. They're quickly going to get taken down. There's a breath, or no, that was an infernal machine. I believe that was still a breath of fire. That obsidian statue could get pummeled down pretty easily. No, able to stay alive at 10. Meanwhile, the Tauren Chieftain does get up to level 6. That's going to be very bad news for, well, that everyone else, as that Tauren Chieftain is just gonna absorb damage and then get back up again. Level 6 now on Sheik's Priestess of the Moon, so we could also see True Shot Aura. No True Shot Aura. Level 3 Searing Arrows. Level 3 True Shot Aura there, as we see a bit of stunning coming back across. Sheik did pick up that Infernal Machine, and that is going to be a large amount of damage. Units trying to retreat back now. Another Archer going to get taken down. Priestess of the Moon still leading the charge. There's a Staff of Preservation for the save. Saving that low hit point Archer. Back here, Ghoul is trying to take down that Entangled Gold Mine. Not going to have any real luck. Level 5 now on this Priestess of the Moon, as Sheik is just using that additional gold and using it quite effectively. Alright, unit after unit going to fall here. There's level 4 Frost Nova by the Elder Shaman. And that's, I believe, what happens when you just do not grab any of the creeps. A cripple onto the level 5 Priestess of the Moon. Healing wave, well, bouncing around. A Tauren Chieftain, even though he got to level 6 first and has the ultimate ability, may not be strong enough to lead this army counterattack back here. Are we going to see a Stomp here? He's trying to get in a good Stomp. Does get in a good Stomp, burrowing those Crypt Fiends. And the Tauren Chieftain trying to finish off some of these units here. Not going to bode well at all. There is another Stomp again. Units now being forced to try and retreat back here. Hippogriff rider getting, well, webbed down. And MisterWinner not living up to his name at all. Gonna lose this Tauren Chieftain and perhaps throw in the towel. Sheik winning this battle here on a Fading Autumn all the random. This early economic advantage really making a big difference. Searing Arrows, dual Priestess of the Moons, and, well, Sheik opting to go for Crypt Fiends, going up against MisterWinner's unorthodox strategy of Hippogriff Riders. Normally we don't see Hippogriff Riders very often, if at all, and the fact that the Crypt Fiends have a web, which is a pretty much free attack against, or a free ensnare onto them that is auto-entangled, well, it meant that the Hippogriff's mobility just didn't come into play. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.